Hello, Robin. Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me. I know you're 3 hours behind us right now. You're in California, and it's pretty early for you. So,
My
so
pleasure. I like to be up early anyway. So it works out really well for me. I love the quiet of the morning and it helps my mind focus anyway. So it's a beautiful thing.
I love that. I love the candle you have in the back as well.
The vibe, the
Love
energy.
that vibe. Um, so yeah, today I just wanted to talk to you about your experience being in the Medicine Woman program. But before we dive into that, I really want to hear a little bit about you, your life, and just kind of if you want just want to give us like what does your life look like right now, and then if you can tell me um, who was the medicine woman in your life growing up? Who was the person that inspired you?
I love that question. I think about this a lot because I think there are so many ways that we can define ourselves, right? Like where we're at in our lives. So, from the outside perspective, right now, I am a busy mom. I work, my husband travels all the time, I have kids. I live in California, as you said, and little bit of background. I always was interested in health and wellness. Then I had a pretty traumatic event with my first child when I was pregnant, and she was born early. I had severe preeclampsia, and I think at that time I felt like that health and wellness that I valued so dearly was just like ripped from me, right? You're put in this medical system. So much of it is not in your control. They just do things, they just give medicines, like you don't know what the effects are going to be. That was really hard for me. It was really traumatizing. And having a child supposed to be like this joyous time, but for me, it was such a different experience because of that. And then fast forward a few more years, and then it was COVID time, and you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck just happened? So I think when I heard about the Medicine Woman program, I was like, what? This is a return to all the things that I loved and believed and thought about and felt so empowered by before. And so to find this is just a roundabout way of me saying how I came about the program. Like I was so just, I felt so deeply empowered by this. And it felt like so authentic and natural and something I had been searching for that had been ripped from me in a sense. Um, I just, I think the value to bring that back into my busy life is my point. Like my life is so busy. So to have all this wisdom, all this guidance, all these tools, all these resources right at my fingertips again, where I have like 20 minutes, I can sit down and just like look at a lesson and bring that back into my life, into my lifestyle to
Mhm.
help my kids with their health again, right? To help me with my health again, to nourish myself again. Like amazing. So despite all the busyness that I have right now with all the different hats that I wear, this Medicine Woman program fits so seamlessly into it. And that's why I love it so much. So, just a little bit of background of how I became kind of part of the program. And then, in terms of who is the medicine woman in my life, I feel so fortunate. My grandma, she passed away when I was younger, but I can remember. So I grew up in a small town, actually not town, near a small town on a farm in Minnesota, very rural setting. Like we didn't have much, we didn't have a lot of money, but we grew most of what we ate. We either, raised it or we grew it. And then we would be canning, we would be freezing. Like, so much of this program is already ingrained in my soul. And when you move away from that, right, like away, went to school, that kind of thing, you don't have it as readily at your fingertips again. But I keep going back to inspiration I had both from my grandma and my mom as well, who was huge in that. So my grandma, to back up, she had a little farm plot, and this is such a long, she had such a deep intuition to nature and herbs and healing that comes from it. So she would go out to the garden to work, because in the middle of nowhere. She would just this is Minnesota also, so there's a lot of cold winter months. So she would take off her shirt and she would just garden in her bra to get that vitamin D, like intuitively. You
Love
know what
that.
I mean? Yeah, I love that. That's like the wild woman we all want to be, right? Like
Yes.
I'm gonna
Oh
go out
my
and
God.
garden. Bra. I mean, I sometimes do sports bra, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, and then she would also just intuitively, like, this is so distinct to me. I can remember smelling garlic on her breath every single morning because she would eat garlic toast every morning. And as a kid, you're like, "Woo, grandma!" But but now, like that deep wisdom and intuition, it's like part of me, and I feel so lucky to have that. Um, so my grandma was a huge one, and my mom too. I was the kid growing up that would have, we would buy that big old tub of organic peanut butter from the food co-op that actually wasn't even a food co-op. It was just like a little co-op of people that wanted to eat healthy. The town was so small, we didn't even have a food co-op. And so we would buy it and we would all mix it. And I was that kid that's like, hey, you don't have the white bread peanut butter jelly? No way. This is all organic, no sugar, no oil added peanut butter sandwich that I have that I brought to school. And I am so grateful for that, right? Just the wisdom she
Mm.
would beyond that food, but all the things that we would grow on the farm and then preserve and can and freeze. Like we had that big old deep freeze of all the things that we would have to nourish us during a very cold, hard winter in Minnesota. And so I think so much of our society today has lost that. Like we've lost some of that intuition. We've lost some of that sense of working the land, of being so grateful for what the land provides to us. Like there is healing, there is whole food just literally right out there for the taking. And what do? We go to like the grocery store and buy all the packaged stuff, all this plastic that like last forever. And just I want to continue to be that medicine woman for my community and for my kids. Like I have two kids, they're busy. There's a lot of outside influence, unfortunately, right? With school, with
Mhm.
social media. This is just such a new thing that as a parent, I'm learning to navigate too. But I want them to have that value already in their being, like I feel like I had from my grandma and my mom too. So um that's kind of like a little bit of background. That's a long-winded background of me and
I love that.
where I am and all the things.
That's what I wanted to hear. I mean, I literally, when I was thinking about this interview, I was like, man, I really want to know who the medicine woman was in her life, because we all have one, whether it's a grandmother, a mother, a neighbor, whatever it is, that there's something that's pulling us towards this thing, right? This inner knowing. And so it's not really like you are learning, but it's almost like a remembering. That's how I think of it, because I've been through a similar journey, years ago, still on it. And it's like, it's this coming home, the more we get into this lifestyle, the more it feels like, we're coming home and we're in this this space that just feels right,
Absolutely.
that feels true. So, okay. So now tell me, when did you join Medicine Woman?
I was thinking about this. I know it was, so we moved. I'm currently living in California, but we moved to Washington State for a while. And so it was probably right after the COVID times, I think 2021. And
Okay.
I was just searching, right? I was searching there's more out there. This is not the stress, the health scares. This is not the things that is normal in terms of the COVID. And so I
Mhm.
think side note, your so Audrey used it for everyone. Maybe they know me, they don't know that you had a restaurant in Indianapolis, and that one was like probably one of my top 5 restaurants in the whole world, truly. So I think I heard about the Medicine Woman program from an email about the restaurant, in all honesty. And
Yeah.
so then I started exploring it further. I, was emailing Nora back and forth. She's also amazing. You have such a great community of support for people in the program also. And so
Thank
that
you. Yes, we do.
Yeah, so good. So it got me really interested. And the fun thing about that was we had a really nice space up in Washington where we could just grow so much. Like I'd have zucchini out the wazoo. I wouldn't even be maintaining them. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, here's all this zucchini that I can just use. And it was such a gift.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it's fun.
Wow. Okay, so that's what, 2 or 3 years. So tell me how, um, some of the big takeaways and from the Medicine One program that really have stuck with you. And then also, what does your life look, how has it changed your life? Like then, before the program compared to after, what does it look like in your daily life? Things that you're doing in your kitchen, in your garden, things like that.
I think the biggest word I could describe in terms of takeaway from this program is kind of empowerment, if you will. Like, I feel so empowered, as you said, to just live my most authentic wild woman self again, right? Like the one that we
Mhm.
kind of intuitively know is there. So, for example, I love doing this and I love it getting my kids in it too, actually. And they're my son especially has really just like taken hold of all these principles and it makes me so happy. But like we'll prepare teas for the night before. So just fill up a big old mason jar, put some herbs in the bottom, fill it with water, let it steep overnight. In the morning, we'll strain it out, right? Strain the herbs out, have that to drink for the rest of the day. Um, every morning we'll go out and check the garden, right? We'll go water
Mhm.
it, we'll go pick anything that we need to do. We'll dry some herbs, like we always have something drying, whether it be the little dehydrator we have. I mean, and it's nothing fancy. Like what the beauty is, it didn't like cost tons and tons of money to do this, right? It's just these small changes that we're doing in our lifestyle. Even to the degree of, so they're still on summer break. School starts next week. So we're doing like the baking, the cooking, whatever. Oh, okay. Well, we're, special treat. Let's make some cookies. Oh, but let's add a little bit of this in because this is going to be, like, let's add those, a few little medicines in, like medicinal herbs, right? Because
Yeah.
that's nourish your body more as we make it. And so, just kind of putting the kids in that mindset of just little things every single day. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference for all of us. And I think
Mhm.
beyond that, what I love for myself and my kids is that, like it helps us all be more mindful and aware of what we're doing in our daily. And like one of the things in the Medicine Woman program that I like too is you go through like this little check-in type thing. How am I feeling with my body, my soul, my spirit? And I think we've lost so much touch with that. So just kind of having that become part of all of our routines, right? With the kids, with myself, it just helps ground me again instead of feeling like, oh, I'm spiraling, got to do this or got to do this or out of control. And so um, they sound like little things, but having, I think, that routine and especially when things get busy or out of control, going back to just having that routine. This is what I'm going to do every day. And it just helps you feel that groundedness. And again, it feels so fulfilling, like it's part of your most authentic self and your soul that shines through and it just nourishes you in such a way that nothing else can provide. I think, you know what I mean? Like, no, the bubble bath is nice, but it's not going to provide to me that same way as the daily routines that I have that just fulfill me and my kids, I think too.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. And same with us, it's like, it's just now it's not something that we're even actually, that intuitive piece comes in. So we're not actually thinking of, okay, what are we going to add to make it more medicinal? We're just doing it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of
Yeah.
the things I talk about is like if you're adding garlic to something, add like 3 times or 4 times more than you normally would. Make it a medicinal dose, right? Especially as we're getting into cold and flu season. So, whereas we might have added like one little clove of garlic, now we're adding a lot more to something. And it's just like it just becomes woven into, our life. We
That is
hear a
my favorite.
simple, yeah. So, okay. So tell me specifically like cold and flu season, how does that look different before Medicine Woman and after? Like, how are you handling that?
Oh my gosh, I already know, like, because we we just traveled back from Indiana to California, and I could just tell, like, you could just tell, oh, a little tickle, my sore throat. So I think it's gonna start already with just flying and changes. Anyway, so I'm already preparing. I have like a little arsenal area in my cabinet. It's right next to the kitchen sink too. So it is so easy for me just to grab it and have it ready. So as you mentioned, garlic is huge. I use so much garlic in all that we do. And it goes back to my grandma too, and her intuition with the garlic. Like, it's funny that you mentioned that one because back in Indiana, one of my sisters was not feeling well also, and so I made a soup, and I just threw in. I was like, I'm just gonna make you this soup, and I threw in like 8 cloves of garlic, like
Yeah.
just to make it as nourishing and as medicinal as possible. So anyway, that was a side note. So in terms of cold and flu season, I like to brew up some teas in advance. Especially before the start of school, we got it coming up just around the corner, and I'm going to have
Yeah.
them all ready. We're really lucky to have kind of 2 fridges, because
Mhm.
I do a lot of cooking and preparing and storing. And so the other fridge is going to have all of those kind of medicinal teas ready for my kids. And then I have an arsenal of tinctures that I just
Mhm.
add a drop of doop to kind of whatever my kids are going to be having during the day. So my son is really into juicing. We got into juicing again,
I
which
love
is
that.
really so cute. He was juicing celery yesterday, which made me so
Oh,
but so anyway, I'll have the juice and then just like slip in whatever tincture I think that they could use to benefit their immune system right now.
mhm.
And it varies, kind of based on what I hear going around with the school or what I hear in the community too. But so that's the big one. And then a lot of times we make a lot, like my kids like pancakes, so I'll throw like maybe even a tincture and a herb or something into the pancake and mix it. And I think it just becomes so intuitive
Mhm.
for me. And so sometimes I'm not even like as aware of what I'm doing. I just do it. And that's the cool part, I think, of the after part of this program. Um, like before after being in the medicine woman program, is I feel like some of these things just come so intuitively now, like, oh, my kid has a little sniffle, I'm going to add this to what they're eating, their oatmeal, their pancakes, their juice, their water bottle, so they can feel. Even popsicles, sometimes I make like a popsicle, which I love. You've had some great recipes along the years too, and
Yeah.
like you like what elderberry, you add it in and it just makes it taste so yummy. It's medicinal, it feels good, it's soothing, and it just gives their immune system such a boost. So that we definitely do. I like to do essential oils, like an essential oil diffuser also for them.
Mhm.
Especially if there's a stuffy nose or maybe some eucalyptus or that kind of thing too in practice, or like a shower steam type thing, that just to support us because we are gearing up for that season again. Good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I love that. Very similar to how it looks in our house too. I love that you have like a station of teas. That's awesome. That is so awesome. We're actually doing a class on popsicles next week. That's going to be our August medicinal popsicles. Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that. Um, and I love how you say that it feels intuitive, to you now, because one of the things that I hear from women is like, well, I don't know, how it would become intuitive because I don't know the information yet. And so it's like, okay, so that's the cool thing is that we're providing really, I think it's simple. Um, we don't get too bogged down with too much information, that we keep it nice and clear and simple on the herbs, so that you're learning the basic, top, 10, 5 to 15, depending on the herb. Some of them have a lot of benefits, but 5 to 15 main benefits, and we even provide that remedy sheet that you can print out as well. But that you start to learn, even if you learn 5, 5 main herbs, then when you have that kind of infused into your knowing, it's now wisdom for you, and that your intuition can pull from that, and it's just you start there, and then you maybe learn 3 to 5 more. And I think we're up to 50 herbs now. And it just keeps growing because we're adding some every year. But I love that you mentioned that, because it's like, I think that can be a barrier. It's like, for the intuitive part. So it's like we're providing that wisdom for you, and we're also helping guide you through tuning in, which is something we call the medicine woman method, a really easy way of tuning into how you're feeling physically, how you're feeling spiritually, and how you're feeling emotionally, which I love. That method has been incredible for me because I'm someone who can just be like go 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 all day long, and for me to have that purposeful moment, even if it's 60 seconds of like standing there for a second and just tuning into my body, it's such a gift. And to be able to teach that to my kids too and be like, okay, so tune in first. All right, here's where we are. Now let's go to the medicine cabinet and let's take a look at what we have and what we might need for the day.
I love
And
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
yeah. And by the way, I wish I would have known your grandmother. She sounds like a awesome lady. Are you kidding me? Out there gardening in her bra and like
No,
eating garlic toast for breakfast.
she was an incredible woman, incredible woman. I am so lucky you've met my mom too. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun conversation. So I feel so lucky to have that support in my life. It was such a gift, right? It was such a gift. And to have my mom, who she is the most amazing person. You know this too. So once in a while, she'll like buy tinctures and things from you and send them my way just because, I can't just do a pop up every now and then.
Yeah.
So like, just bless her. She's so amazing to do that for me. So
Oh, I love it. So yeah, you come from a line of women who are like, connected to the earth. I love that. Okay, so you mentioned that you had some like burning things you wanted to say. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to say them or if there's anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up.
um I think we've touched on a lot of them. I think I just want people to know how amazing this program is. And I think you don't truly realize the value of something, or maybe you do, but like until you look back and you think, look how far I've come in this, and look at how much I've known and gained, and how good I feel, and
Mhm.
how I feel like I'm becoming more. This program for me, I think, really helps me feel like I am becoming more of my most authentic self in every way. And
Mm.
that just feels so good all around, right? That authentic, rewilding woman that is in us, that society, you know, just whatever. There's so many pressures from society or things that they say otherwise. And it's like, no, this is good. This is beautiful. This is pure. This is like so nourishing to all of us. And then I think the big piece I feel is so I hesitate to use this word because I feel like self care is such a buzzword out there. And this isn't just self care, this is like providing something to yourself that is going to nourish you, which in turn will nourish your family, nourish your kids, your friends, your community, right? Like it just spills over the benefits of this. And so it's just like providing that little thing for yourself has such a huge impact in our world, and we need more of that. So that is just one little piece that I feel very passionately about. And then the other piece is just some of my favorites from the portal. Like I really feel that this is such a treasure chest of information. Like it's an incredible toolbox of information. Like just like you said, all those tools that you have at your like, wow, I can just look at this herb and you show me how to identify it and what it looks like and where I can, how I can process it. So that's the thing that I love. I love that I can go back to lessons, like for example, the travel, whatever. I was like, oh, my gut is feeling, just not the way it should. There's a lesson on that. So I can go back and rewatch that and think, oh, what can I incorporate? If it's not as intuitive.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last piece is just the recipes you have. I have on deck the medicine bar recipe right now that I'm ready. I'm like, I've been craving it so, so badly. So I have all my things ready. I'm up early. I'm going to make it and have it for the rest of the day. So I just thank you for providing this for myself, for everyone out there. You are sharing such a gift with the world, and I don't take that lightly. And I feel such gratitude for you and what you and Nora are doing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, anytime you're putting your heart out there, it feels so good for it to be, seen And I do want to touch on, that piece you mentioned about, it's the self-care, and it's not just about just yourself, it's about how it ripples out into your home and into your community, which is why I'm doing this, right? Because as women, we're hardwired that way, right? We don't want to keep everything for ourselves. We want to share it. We want to nurture those around us. That's how we're wired. That's our deepest desire is to enrich our community, to make things better. And for anybody who's ever had, especially chronic illness, something that's just like chronically there, it really diminishes your ability, to be of service, because it does kind of shrink things down just to you. And you're just like getting through the day. And the thing is, so many people are experiencing chronic illness, and it's starting from younger and younger ages. And so I feel like it's making us kind of like come back in and just kind of be in our own world, me included. I've been there. I've, still traveling that journey. And it's like, but I know what it's like to find something to help us feel better. And then as soon as we start to feel better, we are like, we want to, okay, what can I do? How can I take care of this person and this person? And especially for parents, what a gift it is to share that with your kids, to show them. And we know that it's not, you can't just speak, you have to actually live it. So when this becomes part of our lifestyle, it's not just, and something else I want to say too is that what we're teaching is a reframe of your life.
Yes.
Even if you don't come into it for that reason, it starts to happen, right? And that is where true wellness actually happens, as opposed to keeping your life the way it has always been and then thinking you're going to bring in one or two things. That's a very pharmaceutical way of looking at things. And that's okay. We've been taught that. That's the world we've been swimming in, for at least 100 years as a society. But when we start to bring in this lifestyle, or bring these medicine woman ways of being into our life, it shifts our life into a different way of being. And one of my favorite bits of feedback I received from a young woman recently was that what she was learning opened her up to where in her words, she felt like she wasn't even living life yet. Like she feels like now,
Wow.
this is life.
Wow.
Right. And I was like, oh my God, that just really
Goosebumps.
yeah, because I feel that too. But the way that she said it, and I'm like, wow, you're so right. We just went on vacation, and we can't go anywhere without me needing to stop and clip plants, right? So yeah, it was sumac season, and I hadn't had any, gotten to clip any sumac yet. And we were trying to get home, and of course we're stopping on the side of a busy road, and I'm out there with my husband, and we're clipping and we're putting things in bags, and he's like, life would be so boring, if without you. But I'm like, but it's not just me, it's this lifestyle. It's our connection to the plants, right? We found ourselves in busy cities, and we see an apple tree and we stop and we get bags from the truck and we're picking apples as cars are zooming by, because we see the value in it and it excites us. And it's that connection of like food and medicine is everywhere. It's all around us. And when you become a medicine woman and you're looking at these things, it's like, I feel like anyway, life becomes so exciting.
My husband
and enriching. Yeah, go ahead.
says the same. Sorry, just a side note. My husband says the same thing because we do a lot of hikes and camping, and I will literally be hiking and be like, "Look at this," and I'll like take a little nibble, and he'd be like, "Okay."
Here we go.
Or we were at a campsite, and I was like, "Whoa!" This is in Washington. Salmon berries. You don't always find salmon berries. So I was like, "Get a container." And we're just picking and gathering salmon berries. And anyway, so similar principle. He's like, yep, here we go. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's such a gift. It's such a gift. It's such a reframing, like you said, of our mindset and finding that joy that life has for us, and that all the earth is providing for us just there, right? Like you said, just there on the side of the road. So
Yeah.
opening up that awareness is just such a beautiful thing. Side note.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And it's like, it's built in, just like going back to your grandmother, she wasn't just tending the garden, she was receiving the sun, right? Which is a vital, we talk about in Medicine Woman all the time, a vital component to health. And like there are codes in our body that need that sunlight. And so she's getting the sunlight, she's getting the movement, she's getting the fresh air. Her hands are touching that soil, which is important for the, our microbiome. And of course, she's, bringing food and medicine into the home. It's like this way of being is hardwired for human wellness,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's mostly free other than, the little things you have to buy to make your tinctures and stuff. But I mean, as far as if you know how to go out into your backyard and you're gardening, my goodness. I mean, looking behind me, this isn't purchased, this is all stuff that we've either purposely grown or wild harvested. And it's like, you can do that too. And I've seen the apothecary, the home apothecaries of many medicine women that have showed me, and they've got, cabinets full of jars of things. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens, and that's wealth. That is true wealth, the ability to take care of yourself.
That space in your apothecary makes me so happy. I can't even tell. It is
That's
such.
right. Yeah, you were here. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be there. I was like, so goals,
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah, it's fun to see them all lined up like that. Well, thank you so much. This was just a delight, Robin. I appreciate you taking the time. And I just love hearing how this is, reflecting for you. And I just wish so many good things for you and your family. I hope you have a beautiful, winter season. And I just look forward to connecting with you, in the Medicine Woman program and beyond.
Likewise, thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for your time too. It's such a pleasure for me to be able to be part of this. So thank you for all you do.
Mutual admiration. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.